Alright, buckle up, gearheads, because I am about to drop a bombshell. There's an 80s car, so bulletproof. It's still outrunning half the junk on the road today, and I'm saving the best for last. You regone. Nah, lose your mind when you hear what it is. Picture this, it's 1985, hair's big, synths are blaring, and Detroit, Japan, and Germany are pumping out machines that just refuse to quit. I'm talking cars, built like tanks, with souls that roar louder than a V8 at Redline. I've been wrenching on these beasts since I was old enough to hold a socket, and today, I'm taking you for a ride through 15 of the most reliable 80s cars that laugh in the face of breakdowns. This is Channel Name, where we live for the smell of gasoline and the hum of a perfectly tuned engine. So, let's hit the gas and cruise through a decade when cars were built to last forever. First up, let's talk about the Honda Accord. Not the fancy pants hybrid you see now. This is the 80s Accord, the second-gen model from 81 to 85. This thing was a cockroach in the best way. You couldn't T-kill it. 4-cylinder, 75 horsepower, but it sipped gas like a camel at an oasis. My buddy Dave had one with 400,000 miles, still purring like it just rolled off the lot. Honda's secret, over-engineered everything. The CVCC engine was so clean, it didn't even need a catalytic converter in some markets. Park one next to a modern crossover, and it's like comparing a Swiss watch to a fidget spinner. Then you've got the Toyota Corolla, the AE86 for you drift kids out there. Yeah, it's a legend now, but back then, it was just a scrappy little coupe or sedan that wouldn't die. The 4AC engine was so simple, you could fix it with a hammer and some duct tape. I knew a guy who drove his from LA to New York. No AC, no power steering, just vibes and a dream. Still ran like a champ. Toyota didn't mess around in the 80s, build quality was their religion, and the Corolla was their holy grail. Now, let's swing over to Germany. The Mercedes-Benz W123. This thing was a vault on wheels. You could drive it through a war zone and it'd come out with nothing but a scratched bumper. The diesel models, like the 300D, were the kings of longevity. I saw one at a junkyard with 1,000,000 miles still started on the first crank. Mercedes didn't cut corners. They built these like they were planning to colonize Mars. Sure, they were slow, but you didn't buy a W123 for speed, you bought it to outlive your grandkids. Don't sleep on the Volvo 240 either. Boxy, boring, and built to survive the apocalypse. The red block 4-cylinder was so tough, it could probably run on regret. My uncle had a 240 wagon, hauled his whole life in it, kids, dogs, lumber, you name it. Never once saw a tow truck. Volvo's motto was safety, but they accidentally made these things immortal. Compare that to today's cars, where a check engine light means a $2,000 trip to the dealer. Let's talk American iron for a sec. The Buick LeSabre with the 3.8-liter V6. This wasn't just a car, it was a couch with a carburetor. Smooth, comfy, and tougher than a linebacker. That 3.8 was so reliable, GM used it for decades. You'd see these in every grandma's driveway, racking up miles without a hiccup. My neighbor, LeSabre, survived a tree falling on it during a storm, drove it to the shop the next day. Try that with a modern plastic fantastic. Now, for something weird. The Dodge Caravan. Yeah, a minivan, but hear me out. When Chrysler dropped this in '84, it changed the game. Families ditched station wagons for these rolling living rooms. The Mitsubishi-sourced 2.6-liter 4-cylinder was a workhorse. My buddy's mom had one, and we'd pile in 4 road trips, snacks flying everywhere. That van took a beating and kept going. It's the unsung hero of the 80s, and you can still find them hauling kids to soccer practice. Let's shift gears to Japan again with the Mazda 626. Not as sexy as an RX-7, but this sedan was a sleeper hit. The 2.0-liter 4-cylinder was smooth as butter, and the build quality was Toyota-level obsessive. I worked at a shop where a guy brought his 626 in for an oil change 300,000 miles. Original clutch. Mazda didn't get the hype back then, but gearheads knew the 626 was a diamond in the rough. The Nissan 300ZX deserves a nod, too, though, not just a pretty face with those pop-up headlights. This thing was tough. The VG30V6 was a beast, and the engineering was so solid, you could track it all weekend and drive it to work on Monday. My cousin had one, beat it like it owed him money, and it never blinked. Compare that to modern sports cars that need a software update every time you sneeze. Don't forget the Jeep Cherokee XJ. This SUV was the blueprint for every crossover today, but with actual guts. The 4.0-liter inline-6 was indestructible. Cops, farmers, and off-roaders swore by it. I saw one climb a muddy hill that would VA sent a modern SUV, crying for traction control. Jeep didn't overcomplicate things. They just built a brick that could go anywhere. Now, for a curveball, the Subaru Jeep. Before Subarus were all about hipsters and dog commercials, they were quirky, all-wheel drive tanks. The EA82 Boxer engine was weird, but reliable as hell. My buddy took his GL through a blizzard when everyone else was stuck. Subaru's out was like having a cheat code for winter. Let's hit the high end with the BMW 3 Series, the E30. This wasn't just a yuppie status symbol. It was a driver's car that could take a beating. The inline-six was silky, and the chassis was so balanced, it felt like it read your mind. My buddy's E30 had 250,000 miles, still carved canyons like it was born for it. BMW lost that magic somewhere along the way, but the E30, pure gold, the Toyota Land Cruiser FJ60, is next. This thing was a mountain goat with a V8 heart. The 4.2-liter inline-six could tow a house, and the body was built to survive a nuclear winter. Overlanders still hunt these down because they know it'll outlast them. Compare that to today's luxury SUVs that can't handle a pothole. For the van life crowd, the Volkswagen Vanagon Westfalia, that air-cooled boxer engine was slow as molasses, but it kept chugging. Campers love these for their charm and reliability. My buddy's Westie took him across the country, broke down once, and he fixed it with a screwdriver. Try that with a modern RV. The Chevy Caprice Classic is another American gem. Big, floaty, and powered by a 5.0-liter V8 that just wouldn't quit. Cops and cabbies loved these because they could take a beating and still look classy. My dad had one, drove it into the ground, and it still sold for $1,000. And now, the hidden gem I teased at the start, the Saab 900 Turbo. This Swedish weirdo was quirky as hell, ignition on the floor. Anyone. But that turbo four-cylinder was a beast, and the build quality was unreal. Saabs were like the eccentric uncle of cars. Odd, but you couldn't help but love them. I saw one with 500,000 miles, still boosting like it was 1985. Why is it the best? Because it's the underdog that outlasted flashier cars and still turns heads. So, there you go, 1580s cars that just won't die. These machines had heart, built by people who cared about more than profit margins. They remind us of a time when cars weren't just appliances, they were family. So, here's the big question. Are we ever going to see cars this tough again? Or are we stuck with disposable tech boxes forever? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me your favorite 80s survivor, and let's keep the gearhead fire burning. See you on the road.